Geocachomaniacs.
Geo Gearheads.
Welcome back to the Geo Gearheads. This is episode 486. I'm Daryl W4, but not with Chris of the Northwest.
No, not Chris of the North. Craig from the. Where am I now? I'm in the north, in the east.
See, and now we're in the same time zone, so I can't even get any kind of jokes in about how's tomorrow.
Well, technically, I'm still in the future, mate, because it's 9 here PM at night.
Well, that's what it is here. We're both in the Eastern time zone.
Oh, we are too. I didn't even think. Oh no, we can't.
See, if Chris were on,
yeah, that's a different story. True, very true.
Well, it's good to have you in the same time zone because now we get to have you on the show more often.
This is true. And thank you very much for having me too, Daryl. I do appreciate it, mate.
Oh, it is always a pleasure having you on. And today we are going to be talking about something that's kind of dear to your heart, which is the GIFF, the Geocaching International Film Festival.
That which we are. And it is very dear to my heart, mate. Very dear to my heart. I do enjoy my GIFT videos and also watching them as well, and hosting events, etc. too. So pretty cool.
Well, and we're specifically going to talk about the gear for doing GIFs today.
I am talking on Geo Gearheads after all,
exactly
about the gear itself. That's the gear
how can
and
we
Gearheads.
Not talk about gear.
It's in the brand name.
Exactly. Come on, we're techie geeks. We got to talk about our gear.
This is true. I've got some with me too. Pretty some stuff.
Well, I did actually sit down and do some more research tonight for this episode because we've been talking a little bit on and off about some of this kind of gear and some of the issues that people have run into, especially during COVID, and that's what's kind of interesting. But we'll save that for later. First off, you've actually done a few GIF films, not just one, but you've done 3 attempts at GIF films.
Yeah, that's correct, mate. I did three in total. I think the first one was back in 2016. That seems so long ago now. I was a finalist, and that was my first one, and I was a finalist in that one. We'll talk about what it was later. It's called Spitting the Dummy, and then I did one in 2017, which I didn't get a finalist for that one, but there was an issue. We'll talk about that with actually non-royalty music. You see. And then 2019, I was also a finalist in Cash Police as well. So I actually appeared in that one, as opposed to not appearing in the first final one, the Spitting the Dummy. I was just all behind the camera, director, writer, cameraman, the lot. So, yeah.
Well, that you mentioned on the non-royalty free music, I think is what you're actually talking about. You do need to have the royalty-free music because geocaching.com is going to be posting these and needs the rights and everything. So even if you do get the royalty-free music, you have to make sure that rights transfers to them.
And that's exactly right. And that's exactly what happened with me in that one. It's just a learning experience. I looked up royalty-free music. Silly me, I didn't do a full background check. It was just I just Googled it on YouTube. Royalty for you. Oh, that sounds really good. I'll use that. But yeah, no, it wasn't. So,
and music gets into so many different laws in so many different countries. And because this is international, it has to qualify in all of those.
Exactly right. Exactly
here
right.
In the US, it's really bizarre because you'll have the performance rights and then you have the I can't remember what it's called, but basically the rights to the music. So there's 2 different sets of rights that you have to make sure that you've got for stuff like this.
That's right. It's not just and also you can't have it. So for instance, at the moment now, I go through a particular a company and I pay for it as well. So for my YouTube channel, and they give me all the music and I have the full rights to it. YouTube will then turn around and say oh, hang on, this isn't royalty free, this music. But because I got it from them, they back me up and they go, yep, he's free to use it on all my YouTube stuff, you see, which then, of course, is monetization, all that sort of stuff. But when it comes to the actual GIF, it's not under me. It's not under my brand. I'm giving the full video and audio to HQ. And HQ don't pay for their stuff. You know, they're not going to pay royalties here and there. So they just say it's got to be royalty free. So
yeah. Well, and really, unless it's something like classic music that's in the public domain, you're probably best to skip the music altogether.
Well, see, we'll come up to talk about what we can and can't do in GIFs and what's good. And I do believe that music, or I wouldn't say music, I would say an audio track of sorts is ideal to have for anything. And it is, so if, for instance, if you watch a video itself and it's just someone talking like we are now, okay, it's not going to be as interesting as opposed to some whooshes and some background noise, and also some background music underlying it as well. You see, so all that just enhances. You don't even. The best part about the background music and stuff is that when you don't know it's there, but you enjoy the video and you don't know why, that's the reason is the audio. So that's the reason for it. So you do definitely need audio of some sort.
Yeah, you definitely need to do something with your audio for sure. But it is very intricate getting into the music. That being why, if you're not absolutely sure, if you can't back it up, don't do it. Interesting thing that GSM times 2 mentions is many shows appearing on Netflix are being shown without music because Netflix doesn't have the rights to the music.
Yes, this is true. Scott, he's a very knowledgeable man. That man.
Well, one of those great examples is WKRP in Cincinnati. Are you familiar with that one?
No.
It was a show from, I believe, the 70s. I actually watched it when I was a kid. But if it's airing on the broadcasting networks at the time, they had gotten all of these rights as promotion for the music.
Right.
Those didn't work in syndication.
Of course.
And it didn't work in rebroadcast. So they didn't have those on DVD or anything for a long time. And the DJ is making reference to some song, and in the DVDs, a totally different song comes on. Because they had to go back and recut it with different audio that they actually had the rights to.
Wow. Yeah. It is a puzzling world out there when it comes to sort of music background checks, royalty-free music, and everything else as well. So, trust me, I've learned the hard way with one of my videos.
Yeah, I've had a couple of these episodes of Geo Gearheads actually get dinged for copyright, where they actually need me to submit the paperwork. So I have a nice little PDF from the author.
Yep.
Saying that no, this is original work that I created for this channel. You know,
is that like just the intro and the outro, like the Cashmaniacs? That one? Oh wow.
Yep. It goes and triggers something, and this is why it is so difficult to deal with music these days.
Oh, it is. It definitely is. It definitely is. Yes. But I find so. Getting back to the gear stuff, we want to talk about the gear stuff now, mate, or what?
Yeah, we better, because it's almost 10 minutes in. And we haven't talked about gear yet.
We both knew this was going to happen to us as well. We did say that before the show. We said, like, I go off topic all the time. So, mate, the gear
holes are as much fun as the actual topic is.
This is true. Mate, the gear I use literally at the moment is just this, my iPhone. So I use my iPhone for all my filming and stuff, but of course that's what I use for the actual filming. But what I use encompassed with that is this beautiful baby here. This is I love this girl here. If you're listening to this in the podcast itself rather than video, this is what they call a DJI Osmo 3, and it is a gimbal, a handheld gimbal with, and this is number 2, I think it is, and it's got the tripod on it as well, mate. Look at that, see, tripod on it too. So that's all nice. So the gimbal itself, what a gimbal is for, this is a 3-axis gimbal, and what the gimbal does basically is a steady cam. That's all it is. So obviously this has got extra features when it comes to things like doing hyperlapses and doing time lapse stuff as well. You know, you can literally just sit it, and you can program where you want it to be at what times, and then just leave it and watch it, and it just does it all itself. You see what I mean? So, and as a gimbal, it is a beautiful thing. Not that expensive either. I think they're around the $150 mark US dollars for the 3-axis gimbal, which I think is well worth it when it comes to trying to edit videos in post and trying to get the auto stabilization, which doesn't work.
No. Well, and you can do a lot without the gimbal.
Yeah, well, you can.
The gimbal really is going to give it that extra quality, especially if you're trying to do handheld tracking shots. And I think you were just getting to the whole point of the Osmos have this great app that you install. You can tell it to track a subject.
Yes.
So you can set it up. It acts as your cameraman. It will pan around and do all of that stuff for you.
Yep.
So it's a great tool to add. Not necessary, but yeah, I want to say it's depending on the kit that you're getting, it's about $120 to about $180, depending again on which kit. And there are a few different options out there at this point. But the one that has that tripod base, that comes with a little carry case and everything,
that's the one.
That's the one that's a little more expensive, but it's really kind of worth it to just have that extra tripod base sitting there.
Definitely. And not only that, with the tripod base itself, when you don't use it as a tripod base, it folds down and it actually creates an extra length of arm on the actual gimbal itself. So you can get further away if you're going to do some vlogging work as well. So you can actually get further away from your face and have more in the background and stuff as well. But when you were talking before, Daryl, about the auto tracking stuff, I have actually used it on this gimbal where I've set it up and auto tracked my face, and I've literally hands-free then walk back and away from, and it follows me wherever I talk and walk. It follows me as I go around. Good and bad to that. I did it one time and I walked way too much, and it just looked so like jiggity and rickety, and it looked really weird, and I didn't like it. So I don't use it that often, but yeah, it is available there for it. My one is the Osmo 2. There is now a 3 out as well.
Well, there's a 4 now.
Oh, there's a 4. I didn't even see that. Oh,
yeah. The 4 has the.
I might have to get the 4.
The 3 is actually pretty cheap, but the 4 is actually pretty cool in that it has a magnetic mount.
Yeah, the magnetic mount on this part here, so you can literally have the mount to your phone. If people don't understand what to do, let me just flick it in here for you. So the phone itself goes into. Even with the big case, and this is the new one, the 12 Pro X Pro. So it's a larger phone as well, and that's basically sits in there from that. As you can see, it's flopping around at the moment now because it's not turned on. But if I turn it on from here, it goes into, and what I like as well, it goes into portrait mode. There it is there. Or I flip it around, and it goes into landscape mode as well. And you can see I'm moving it there, and the phone stays still. So look. So that's the way it works.
There is no issue with using like the Osmo 2 over the Osmo 3 or the Osmo 4. They make steady improvements in each version. The big thing from the 2 to the 3 was the 3 folds down smaller. They also had a bunch of other things, but that was the big thing, is it folds down into a smaller package. It's easier to carry. It's easier to bring with you. The 4,
very, very true.
They got rid of that mount and replaced it with a magnetic mount, which makes it even more portable and a lot faster to set up. So they're just making these little improvements, and there are other gimbals out there.
Of course, we're not sponsored by DJI. No, we're not sponsored by DJI in any way.
But I've gone through 3 other gimbals that I have not gotten to work right for me.
Yeah. The
Osmo 3 that I have has not given me any problem. And one of the big tricks with getting a gimbal to work properly is getting that phone into the right spot.
Yes.
It has to be perfectly balanced. You have to get it at that ideal spot where it's not going to flop around without the power. And that's one of the things that the Osmo does better than any of the others I have, is finding that spot is so easy.
Yes, this is true. And not only that, once you probably do it a handful of times, like 5 or 6 times, and especially if you've got a cover on it, for instance, as well, I know where the clips need to be on the side of my cover. And in actual fact, now I think I'm starting to get wear marks on the side of my cover where the clips need to be. So it's so easy for me to clip it in, and then I do that. I still balance it every single time. I still balance it, and I look and go, "Yep, that's enough. That's fine." I have found the upgrades in the motor system as well, in the gimbals, have improved. So if it is unbalanced slightly, it's not as harsh as what it was in the first Osmos. So the first ones, it vibrated in your hand. Like this. It didn't like it at all, and it told you, I don't like this, it's unbalanced. Whereas this one here, I think the motors are a lot better and a lot stronger for that, holding that sort of stuff, because obviously they're holding larger phones these days too.
Yeah, but having it out of balance is what really triggers that like shaking effect. So that's a good sign to you as the operator. You should probably just turn it off, fix it, and turn it back on. Because if nothing else, you're drastically reducing the battery life.
Absolutely. And not only that, you're actually probably doing harm to the motor, to the bushes and that whatnot too as well. So that's probably not a good thing.
Yeah, it is wearing out a lot faster for sure.
Yeah.
GSM times 2 wants to know how the gimbal works to reduce the hopping that's present when walking.
That's a really good question, Scott. And the plain and simple answer to that is it's the operator. That one there is the operator. You've still got to hold it steady as much as possible. So if you're running against someone or whatever else, well, you've got to try. I watch if I run, if I'm doing a running next to a skateboarder, for instance, or whatnot, I'll be there, and I don't watch the skateboarder. I don't even watch where I'm going most of the time. I'll literally watch the phone and watch my hand, and so my hand will bounce up and down opposite direction to what I'm bouncing up and down. So therefore, then the gimbal can work, and it's nice and flat from there. So that there, Scott, is an operator's issue that can't be done with these sort of gimbals. I mean, obviously, when we're talking about actual like real filming, like with the real gimbals, that's a different story. But with these ones here, they're made for the hobbyist. That there comes down solely to the operator.
Well, and there's a bunch of techniques that you really should try to master if you're trying to do that. That go back to the old school video and film days. Things like the bent knees and
crab walks style.
Yeah.
Yep. Get down low.
Yeah, and no matter what you're doing, always keep your elbows as close to your body as possible. Never hold stuff away, because the closer it is, the better it is to stabilize.
Correct.
All that kind of stuff. But with most of the gimbals, you're also better off to hold the handle at an angle, not perpendicular. That does help with that bouncing.
Exactly. I mean, and again, it's one of those things where you just have to get used to your tools. It's like any good tradesman. I found with this one, I went from the 1 to the 2, for instance, and the difference for me, this one was really good because the number 1, you had the base was inside it and also on the side as well. So you were limited then. You couldn't put a charging cable in it, for instance, that sort of thing. You couldn't actually keep it charged while you were going. This one here you can. But the problem with this one is that the actual back arm itself can, if you're doing different shots in different ways and you're sort of doing a nice little maneuvering technique, the back arm can get into the shot sometimes. And I'm like, I have to redo that one.
Yeah. And I will say, I said there's no problem with like the Osmo 2. The Osmo 1, the original, I will say there was a problem with. Don't get it.
Yeah, don't get the one.
Those first generations of most of these were not very good.
Well, they're first generation for a reason. And why? Yeah. Anything, Daryl, anything gear related. Why would you get the number 1 when you were up to number 4? Like,
right. Well, and the other problem that we have with like the originals, they were built for the much smaller, like iPhone 4 and 5 size phones.
Yep.
They will actually clip the edge on some of the newer phones. Like if you try to put one of the Pro phones in there right now on an Osmo 1, you will actually hit some of those corners.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's quite funny.
It doesn't work.
No, but it's funny in technical terms. We just talk about mobile phones for 1 second. We've gone from big to really small, and we're going back to big again. What's the go there?
Well, but we are going back to small again with the 12 mini.
Oh, this is true. This is true.
It's not sold as well as they thought it would because it had a big burst when it originally launched, and they couldn't keep them in stock. Then all of a sudden that demand fell off because it was the pent-up demand for a high performance phone, a flagship phone that's smaller. Once everyone who wanted that bought it, it kind of tapered off. But there is a strong and steady demand, and we are seeing more of these smaller phones with the better cameras and the better stuff.
Exactly. I think I knew you were going to highlight that. Scott is the best. Screen size is for older eyes.
Yeah,
and for fatter fingers, Scott. Fatter fingers as well, like me.
Yeah, the screen size gives you more real estate, not so much the more size.
Yeah,
but it does let you blow it up. I've got the iPhone 11, and it's bigger than what I want, but I still have a hard time reading it. So it's like, if I get another iPhone, I'm probably going to go down to the mini, just because this is too big for me as I'm using it, playing Pogo, going out caching. Yeah, it works, but more than once I'm clipping just the edge of the case as I'm, walking down the trail with a branch or something.
Oh, right. Yeah. That sort of stuff. Whereas, see, for me, I needed the larger one and the Pro because of my filming stuff. The bigger screen, it helps with the focal points. It helps with white balancing and making sure that the color grading is correct as well. So, yeah.
Well, and if you go for the Pros, they have the extra and slightly better cameras.
That which they do. There's the three of them in total. So, yes. Yes, definitely. That's the reason why I went for that. But what else? What else do I use? I have used for Cache Police. I did use a DSLR, but that wasn't actually my camera. That was No Tomorrow. Linda, her name was No Tomorrow. Do you remember her from? She's from Australia as well. Another good vlogger as well. She did a lot of the filming for Cache Police because it was a really Cache Police. Even though I come up with the idea, the concept, and we even had an event to try and talk to people about it because we needed people around there. But Linda liked being behind the camera and being in charge of the camera. I directed a lot of the action shots and whatnot as well, so it was really good. But we did use a DSLR for that one. She did all the editing, but then the best thing we're talking now about the sound. The sound aspect of it, her brother is a professional soundboard creator. So for free, he created the entire soundboard of that video. And if you go back and watch it, I've got it on my YouTube channel if anyone wants to go back, Cache Police. Go back and then just listen to it. Just listen to it, and you'll see the whooshes. You'll see the little the mint tin drops out of the car. Ting 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 ting. The zings, the zangs. He created the whole lot with his keyboard and his sound base at home. So yeah,
I was going to say that one had a lot of good Foley in it.
It did. It absolutely did. And that's where we got it from. I mean, ordinarily, he would charge, obviously, for someone he didn't know. He would charge money for that. And you know what? It was that good a quality. It's possible that I would pay to actually have it. But it was high quality soundboard, that one.
Pizza Ninja asked what the best phone for filming is. He might get a burner or filming phone. And that's hard to say because it does change on a regular basis.
It does.
Right now, my understanding is the best quality video is actually off of the Samsung Galaxy S20.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that Android.
Yeah, well, the iPhone has the best easy-to-use cameras.
Yeah.
But they're not great cameras.
No.
It's all about the software, and theirs works easier and better than most. You're going to get an easier, better picture from an iPhone than you will from almost anything else. But everyone is working on the same things.
Exactly. And I will say this as well. And again, not sponsored at all. I only use an Apple stuff. I only use Apple stuff. So I've got an Apple Mac computer. I've got an iPad. I've got an iPhone. Everything for me is Apple. But I don't use the actual camera app on my phone. I use an app called Filmic Pro. FILMIC Pro. It does cost money. I think it's about $15 US. So it's quite expensive for an app itself. But what it gives you everything that the normal app or the normal product doesn't actually give you. It gives you the the ISO, it gives you the exposure levels, it gives you the focus points, it gives everything is what a normal DSLR camera does. This app actually allows it to happen inside iPhones. I'm not sure with Android. They may have an Android version as well. I'm not sure, but have a look. But yeah, Filmic Pro, again, not sponsored, but that's what I use as an app, as opposed to using the basic app off the phone. It's terrible.
Well, one of the cool things with Filmic, and I don't know that it still exists because I haven't actually used Filmic in about 4 years, but they had a remote app as well. So you could take the primary app, set that up on like your iPhone 12 Pro, and use the app on your, we'll say maybe a old iPhone 4 that you have sitting around.
Mm-hmm.
Which probably is too old that it wouldn't work. But, just an older phone, a smaller phone, something else, and use it as the remote so that you could actually be in the frame, taking, your video and making sure everything is right. Even the basic start stop from that remote, just so that you can make sure it looks right. And I think it would even do multiple cameras, something like 4. So if you wanted to set like a multicam shoot so that you could get those angles and do one take, there you go.
Yep, and Filmic Pro just on by itself does that as well, like with the multi-camera angles and stuff. So it's really it's a bit strange to get used to, but once you've got it, it's like it is an editor's delight, absolute editor's delight. I mean, you when it comes to jump cuts, when it comes to trying to create a video and a vlog that's not actually boring, then you need those jump cuts, you need those transitions and they've got to be seamless. You see, and so when you have those supposedly two cameras from two different angles, yourself, Daryl, with your videos on your YouTube channel as well, mate. I notice you have the two cameras going often. I think one's down for you, and then one's in front as well. When you do
for the locals, for the local stuff that we do downstairs, I'll have as many as 3 cameras going.
Yeah, that's right. So, but then when you edit it, you can actually do it all in one. You see from there. I don't think. Do you edit on the go?
No, only
you have a
live stream.
A live stream, your switchboard.
For the live stream, I do have the switchboard, but I use the switcher for the multi-view, so that we have a monitor down in there where we have got the 3 cameras and can see what each of them is doing. And you'll unfortunately see us looking at that monitor way too often.
But I'm telling you, I'd love to actually come and visit your place and see all your gadgets and gears in which you've got. It must be an absolute den of a place.
It's crazy, and it's a total mess right now too.
Poor Renee.
yeah. Well, in the studio that Scott keeps talking about for my podcast is not the same one we use for doing the rest of the videos. Because this studio works well for this. It doesn't work well for the videos because we need more space.
That's true.
Depth-wise.
Correct.
So it would be awesome. But this also does tie into something else that we should mention. Audio is a really big deal.
Yes. If
you're going to have spoken word, if you're going to have dialogue, make sure that that's recorded well.
Yes.
Your on-camera microphone, that microphone in the cell phone is not going to do it.
No, it doesn't. Definitely does not do it. So I've got 2 things that I actually use. If I'm using inside home, I'll use a Rode. A Rode microphone, directional Rode microphone on an arm, a swing arm. So that's what I use inside the house. But if I'm actually outside and using just the phone itself by itself. Look at this. Oh, it's so nice. It's so pretty. It's a Shure microphone, SHURE, and it plugs directly. You can see the port there, plugs directly into my phone. And at the same time, it's also directional. So, and it gives you a nice little fluffy mouse on the end. So therefore, then you can have wind resistance as well. This is absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Downside to it, you can't do it with the case on. You have to take the case off to do it from there. So
one of the things you can do with any of these phones is get the standard headset adapter that goes to a 3.5 mil, and any of them that don't have a headset port will have either USB-C or there's a lightning adapter that does it. And you can actually plug in things like that video mic to your phone. That's what I would recommend generally over getting one of the like the Shure that you've got. The Shure will give you sometimes, not always, but sometimes those kind of devices will give you more options because it is direct connected, but you also can't put an extension cable on it. You can't mount it to, so if you try to use that with your Osmo, you'll get some balance issues.
Well, you gotta take the goods and the bad with that. But in saying that as well, with your Osmo, for me, so I found with the phone microphones in the new phone I've got now is actually quite good. I've used it several times with my Osmo and the phone without the Shure, and it still sounds pretty schmick. And of course, though, in saying that too, I always touch up my audio in post. Always touch it up in post. You have to.
And the trick with making those sound as good as they do is you can't be very far from the phone.
No, you can't. You can't be across to the other side of the street or whatever else as well. In
general, the closer you get the microphone to the subject, the better the audio is going to be.
That's right. I mean, you can get the ones, the Rode lapel type microphones where they literally lapel on you and then they Bluetooth to the phone over a particular distance, which is fine.
Well, the Rodes aren't Bluetooth. They still actually have the interface.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, because Bluetooth is very low fidelity.
Ah, see?
So you can use, a lot of people I know have done the AirPods, which does work.
Yes.
And it is much better to do that as you're walking around than to use the in-camera, but it's still a very tinny, hollow sound.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. No, it's I knew you put a Shure around 150, but look at this for me, 150 for this, 150, 150, like.
Yeah. Well, and I've got a Rode video mic style clone that I picked up on one of those deal of the days on Amazon for $20. It is an amazing microphone for $20.
Wow.
It's nowhere near as good as my NT1 or NTG Pro, which is what I normally use. But it is really, really good.
Yep.
And I'm saying all this when for my normal shooting that we're doing for the vlogging style stuff, I'm just using a Sony VZ1 with the built-in microphone.
Yeah. Yep.
However, I always use what's generally referred to as a dead cat.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the dead cat. Yep.
If I don't have a dead cat, I'm not going to do audio.
For those that don't know, a dead cat is basically like the fluffy part that you see on microphones in films and stuff like that. That's a dead. They class it. It's not actually a real cat. It's just a fluffy piece of material.
But for some reason, it got the dead cat name. It also has some other names that we can't use on the podcast.
No. That's for film crews only, really.
Yeah. But yeah, the dead cat is a big help, and it's just a bit of fuzz.
That's all it is.
And what that does is dampen the wind noise.
Yes.
You can't hear the wind at all because that hair dampens the noise and takes care of it.
Exactly.
So the first of the dead cats that I got was for my old Canon XL1, and it would do 40-mile-an-hour winds with that microphone, and you couldn't hear the wind at all.
Yeah.
45, and you could hear it.
Yeah. There was a cutoff point.
Yeah, it was like it hits that point, and it's enough. That's it. You could hear it again.
Yep. Exactly. Moving on, then we've got also obviously just stock standard tripods. What about tripods?
Let's skip over the tripods because Brian Simmel wants to talk about drones.
Oh, this is going to take up the rest of the show now. Like
it is.
Oh, the drones, the mighty drones.
Yes.
Do you have a drone, Darryl?
I do not, and we'll talk about why I don't in a little bit.
Well, I do. Mine though, my drone is just an entry level drone, a hobbyist drone. It's the DJI Mini. that one, and now there's a two, of course. After I buy the one, yeah, comes two. I think the three is coming out soon as well. So I heard on the grapevine about a three looking at being published by the end of the year. The Mini, the best thing about the Mini is, number one, you've got the DJI brand, you see. So the high quality brand, you've got the DJI assurance. You can actually pay, when you buy the drone, you can pay an extra $25. And what that does, it insures you for any breakages. It goes in the water, for instance, you hit a tree and it gets damaged, all that sort of stuff. As long as you physically have the drone, then they'll replace it for you for that $25 insurance or whatever. I think it's $25. So which is pretty good when you talk about, like, you're outlaying $600-700 for an item. You know what I mean? $25 to have that, you know. I mean, look, I fly my drone now. My heart still beats like 1,000 times a minute, especially when I over water or height or away from me and I lose sight of it, for instance, which you're not supposed to. But anyway, like that sort of thing, like your heart starts racing. But still, yeah, it's a very, very good thing to have. So the Mini, the best thing about it is that it is, ready for this, 249 grams. Now, I know that doesn't mean much to you people in the USA because you talk pounds and all that sort of stuff. But 249 grams, what that basically means worldwide is the cutoff point for a drone to become registered and a drone to become technically an aircraft is 250 grams. So DJI made a drone 249, so it doesn't have to be registered, and you don't have to have a pilot's license to fly it, and yet you still got the high quality video there and whatnot. The downside to it, yes, it doesn't go as well in wind as what the other drones do, but really, for what I use it for, like, and you'll see if anyone goes to my YouTube channel, they see a lot of drone shots recently as well. I love flying this thing around everywhere I go as much as I can. Fly it around. So it'd be interesting to see though what drone that Ryan said he had, and see and compare it from there and how he's been flying it around. So why don't you have a drone, Daryl?
Well, I kind of got sold on the Air 2.
Oh,
but
is that the follow me option?
Well, yeah, because I want to have some kind of tracking. The tracking on the Air 2 is the best of the tracking that DJI has, but there are some other less portable drones from other manufacturers like the Skydio that are much better. But I also haven't flown a real drone. I've flown like the little stupid, $25 ones, to drive the dog crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm not very good at handling those. So I'm very scared of a drone.
And I think that's the thing. A lot of people get scared of a drone. And funnily enough as well, and this is what I said before about the little insurance thing with DJI, a lot of people turn around and they say, look, someone buys a drone, they go, oh, I bought a drone. Next minute you see all this drone footage left, right, and center, and it lasts for maybe a month or 2 months, and then they crash it, they lose it, something happens to it, it goes in the water, and that's it. You never see a drone again, and they're not going to waste their money again, you see. Luckily enough for me, I have had a couple of accidents with mine, but I managed to fix mine. I did have mine go in the water. It was a creek. It went in the creek. It was my own mistake, but anyway, it went in this creek. I got it out straight away, took it home, and I researched online what to do. Guess what I did, Daryl? Guess what I did? Have a guess.
Rice?
Yes!
It works.
It works. The good old rice. Yeah, I took the battery out and threw the actual battery away. I'm not using the battery again because that's the electronics component. But I junked it in this rice, and and it was the next day it came out and it all worked again. All the electronics was good, the sensors were good. I'm like, oh, thank you. But yeah, the rice.
Yeah, but I like the active track because to me, that's what's going to make it a useful tool to the vlogging.
Yeah.
There's some issues with the Air 2 because it doesn't have the upward sensors, and it doesn't do the follow, or it only does the follow tracking. It doesn't do I forget what they call it, where it follows, or you're following the drone.
Right.
So the 2S that came out just like a month ago has those upward sensors, has a better camera. And it now supports the follow from the side, which I think the 2 now does support.
Yes.
But there's now a problem with the 2S.
I know. So I saw that. I saw the same thing. Probably saw the same video you did.
Oh, I saw a bunch of these videos just beforehand, and one of the guys, I don't remember his name, or I'd give him credit, does the same trail through the trees in like the Netherlands or something.
Yes, on a bike, on a push bike.
Yes.
I did watch the same one as you. Yes,
and he dumped his in the water.
And he lost it. It's gone.
Yeah,
and yeah.
Above and beyond that, it's as he's stopping, it tries to hit him.
Yes,
because the follow just doesn't work right.
No, that's right. But then I think he used a Sky. What's it called? The Skydio as well. That's right, the Skydios, and that worked really well. That Skydio.
But the camera is nowhere near as good.
No, and also it's not as good when it comes to the size factor. I don't think it can.
And it doesn't fold.
No, it doesn't fold down. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to fold down. It's not portable enough. So it's good and bad to everything. Really,
right?
It's what you want.
Well, and the thing to remember about DJI is they do spend a ton of time on the cameras.
Yes.
You're not going to find better cameras on a drone unless you're going to go for something much more expensive where it's actually modules.
That's right.
DJI owns most of Hasselblad. They're using those brains. They're the Mavic 2 Pro. Was that the right name for it? Mavic Pro 2, whatever, has the Hasselblad camera on it.
Yep.
They have the same thing on some of the Phantoms, where it's a combo effort between DJI to make the camera and Hasselblad to make the lenses and improve the camera kind of stuff.
Yep.
So you will find better cameras on the Hasselblad or on the DJIs than almost any other drones.
Yes, definitely. And even with the Mini that I've got, like the camera work on that. I mean, yes, it's not 4K. It's a cheap drone. At the end of the day, it's still a cheap drone. You don't get the 4K resolution. You don't get there's only downward sensors only. There's no upward sensors or sideways sensors. So you've got to be careful. This thing, you can run into trees. It's not there's no obstacle avoidance on it, apart from the ground for some reason.
But you don't have the ground is so that it can land itself.
Yeah, that's right.
But that one doesn't have the follow mode.
No.
So well, having all those extra sensors aren't as important.
You're ready for this, though? It doesn't have the follow me mode, right? But it has it. Well, yeah, there's set programs. There's 3 set programs in there. There's one called a droney effect, which is basically it sits in front of your face like this, and then you click how many foot you want it to fly away from you, and it flies up at a 45-degree angle away from you. So you get that droney look. You see, but it keeps you in center frame because you highlight yourself. So it still has the active track, but it doesn't have the software available for it. So therefore, it's not a follow me. Well, it doesn't just follow you around as such. So there's actually and there's one with a circling effect as well. And there's another one too. I can't remember which one it is. I don't use it, but yeah. So it does have it, and it's capable of it. But interestingly enough, there's a new software update on it only this week or last week. It now has FPV mode.
Yep.
Well, which was very interesting because obviously DJI come out with their FPV drone, which looks very alien-like. And look, I'm too scared to even try that thing. Like that's insane, the speed and whatnot. No, that's not for me. But if you wanted that FPV look, the FPV people don't know. It's what's FPV stand for? FPV.
First person video.
First person video. Basically, yeah, like you it sways with you. It doesn't just keep like this. It doesn't.
Think of it as flying your aircraft through canyons and whatnot. That's the look that they're kind of going for.
Yeah, like you're on a fighter jet or something. That sort of look exactly. But yeah, so it does have it now. I haven't actually used it yet. I plan to do that this weekend just to give it a crack and see how it goes. So I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted.
Yeah,
actually, it'll probably be in my next video. I dare say.
I was going to say it's going to end up in one of the videos.
It absolutely will.
Getting back to why I don't have it though is because it dawned on me. There's not a lot of places that I'm actually allowed to fly the drone here. I can't fly it even in my house because I'm too close to an airport.
Yeah.
Because you have to be 2 miles away from an airport to fly a drone, period. Technically, you can't even fly those little ones in the house.
Yeah.
They don't make an exception for that. It's you can't fly it, period.
That's right.
And then the other thing that turned me off on it was during COVID, the FAA did a crackdown and started fining any YouTubers.
Yep.
Any YouTubers, you didn't have to be making money off of it.
Nope.
If it's posted to YouTube, YouTube runs ads, therefore they consider it commercial, and you have to have a Part 107 license.
Correct. Unless the drone you use is a mini.
See, even those guys were still getting busted.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it's commercial.
Oh,
yeah, and I take exception to that definition. And as I understand, this year they've backed off on that. I don't know if it's a change in enforcement, which I think is likely. In part, there have been a lot of these kind of regulations that it seems during COVID there were a lot of crackdowns, and like vloggers were getting busted for filming in the national parks.
Yeah, well, that's a different story. That's
not the drones.
Oh,
they were fining people for filming in the national parks.
You can't do that.
Commercial photography in the national parks required a special permit.
I better be careful then. I went to Zion. I've got Zion footage.
Well, as long as you did it this year, you're fine.
Yes,
there was a lawsuit last year that overturned the requirement. I don't remember the story entirely. I don't remember the case entirely, but yeah, if you were filming and posting to YouTube in the national parks, you were getting in trouble.
Wow. See, COVID, they didn't have anything better to do, the FAA, apart from watching YouTube videos.
I think it really became hey, we have to justify keeping our department open.
Our existence.
Let's go and do enforcement. I really think that's what happened. I don't know. I have no insight, but just too many stories like this happening from too many different departments in the U.S. And I've heard similar things in other countries.
Yes. Yep.
So it's not exclusive, but yeah, really, I think you have to be careful and make sure you're following this stuff to the letter.
This is true. And all this talk, Daryl, as well, if you have a look, Scott, GSM times 2, he just said, I'm starting to sweat, and that is absolutely true. It's not the lighting.
But it's like, I just didn't want to have to deal with that for the little bit of use that I was going to get out of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait for, improvements. The 2S came out. Now I'm getting excited again because that has the extra sensors that I wanted. And the significance of those upward facing sensors is if I'm going to film like the chase scene of us riding through the forest, you need to have those sensors to avoid hitting the trees overhead. Correct.
And it actually ducks under branches for you as well.
Exactly. So that's the difference between the Air 2 and the 2S that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
It also has the better camera that does the 5.6K 30 frames or 60 frames on 4K. Now, see, Craig, you did something smart. You did 1080 as your delivery format.
Correct.
I did 4K.
No.
I love 4K, but it is killing me.
Oh, it is. It's just it's too much for the platform which we use it.
The reason I made that switch is because I could see the difference even in the junk fooding videos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I can see the difference. I can absolutely see the difference. But for the platform which we use, and I hit my elbow.
Being YouTube.
Being YouTube and the viewing platform of who watches your videos in YouTube as well, and where they watch it. If they watch it on a phone, for instance, what's the difference between 4K on a phone and the 1080 on a phone? You see, so it's not going to be that much of or great of a difference compared to the amount of data that you're using and memory space on your.
This is where I'm getting killed right now. I've filled 2 8-gig drives with the backups of the stuff that I've uploaded. In a year.
Oh, Daryl. You need to learn to cut that stuff out.
No, that's the finals.
That's wow.
That is not the files that I'm uploading. It's the ProRes files, which are
Yes.
like, they're not raw,
Yeah,
at least, but they're the files that have lossless compression, or they're not truly lossless.
Yeah.
But they're better quality. I could recut those and create another video if I need to. I can convert it to re-upload it. Those are my backups. Those are my files. I don't keep the raw footage anymore past the time that I post it to YouTube.
No, and nor do I. Not you can't. Not the amount that you post as well. So definitely not. And just put that out there in the world as well. I actually have registered my drone, even though I don't have to. My drone is actually registered. It cost me $5 for goodness sake. Like it's nothing. It's nothing. But
I would recommend registering the drone, because if there is ever a question,
that's right.
You don't have to worry about it.
No, it's registered. And I'm also a pilot as well. I did the pilot's course for it. So I am covered, so I shouldn't actually be sweating about that information, but I am covered for it as well.
Did you do the Part 107 course, or did you do there's a different course that's just like the recreational, I think?
That is what I'm going to have to look at. that piqued my interest. I'm like,
because the Part 107 is a separate one. You have to learn about airport codes and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah. I don't think it was that one, to be honest with you.
So it's probably worth doing. I've been told it's not a joke. It's nowhere near what you have to go through for any of your actual fixed wing or
no.
It is an easier test, and
it's online.
It is trying to get people familiar enough with aviation terms that you can do a lot of that reporting, and it makes sense because they are looking at, you're probably going to be flying near controlled airspaces if you're doing commercial stuff, like stadiums, that kind of thing.
That's a different kind of setup.
So
different story.
You have to get in touch with the air traffic controllers, make sure that you're safe to fly. It goes into all of that kind of stuff from what I get.
That's right. But for the recreation, I mean, Ryan just said as well that he did the recreational test. And going back into that, people wonder, they think to themselves, where can I fly a drone for recreational purposes? So forget the fact of recording or whatever, but just even for recreational purposes, there's apps you can actually get for your phone, location apps, that will tell you things like, I use 3 myself. I use the UAV forecast app, which shows me the forecast, mostly because I've got the smaller drone, so mostly for the wind purposes, but it also shows me lighting as well in terms of like cloud overhead and whatnot. It's really good. The other one I've got is the B4U, the letter U, fly, one word, before you fly. And that there is exceptional when it comes to outlining the areas in which you're not allowed to fly a drone at all, and no exceptions, like national parks, airports, that sort of stuff. But it also highlights things like, if you're near an airport, like I used to be back in Australia, I used to live in a regional town where it had a regional airport. I was allowed to fly there, not a problem, as long as I looked around. It said, look around, make sure there's no planes coming in to land, and I could fly my drone. It was more common sense. So it tells you those sort of things as well. That was before you fly. That one's actually quite good. And then the other one I use as well is called AirMap. And what AirMap does, it allows you to, once you get to a location, you can then set, for instance, the size of your area that you're going to do some drone work in, and actually register the flight. So you can say, okay, for the next couple of 100 feet in this circumference, I'm going to be flying a drone for 20 minutes. And you can actually register the flight, use your registration, like for the registration of your drone, and also the registration of your pilot license, etc. And you can fly. So then if you have anyone like the Karens coming up to you, you go, it's a registered flight. And it's legit, and it's registered, and there you go, it's all done. So that's what I use as well, and that one was called AirMap. That one is quite good. That's only new I think that's only US only. I picked that up.
Yeah. I was going to ask what countries, if you knew were covered by that one, because that is very cool.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing that I noticed with the Air 2S is they do have the ABD or ADB. I can't remember what those initials are, but it has the avoidance based on the position of other aircrafts. So it actually has the aircraft band in there that they use for the transponders,
Wow.
and knows where the other flying vehicles are, because it's not just airplanes anymore, right?
No, it's not. It's other drones as well. Like,
Well, it's other drones. Well, the drones don't actually have the transmitters.
No.
But it's rotary aircraft like helicopters. We're going to get the delivery drones before too long. There's enough of these other things.
Order a pizza by drone.
Yeah,
they're the ones.
Those I think have been some of the smaller ones. But have you seen the drones that they're using for the larger scale deliveries, where they're actually like the wings?
Oh, no, I haven't.
They're pretty impressive. And I just caught a video of a company, I can't remember who it was, that's doing deliveries. I think they started in like Africa or something like that, and now they're expanding to India.
Wow.
I can't remember. This is like a couple of weeks ago. But it's rotors in the wings, so that's how it can take off to get it that extra lift.
Yeah.
But it flies more like a traditional fixed wing.
Yeah, in forward.
So it's
motion.
So it's more efficient.
Yeah, it would be. It would be.
So
Definitely.
we're going to have these larger drones taking to the Ryan says they're considered UAV, not drones.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to say, I know who's going to be piloting those ones.
Yeah.
Return service men and women.
So yeah, it's going to be an interesting few years, and I think it's coming sooner than we expected, thanks to COVID.
Yes, this is true. I noticed Houston, Texas Dave said as well in the chat, saying that he needs a drone group shot for Mingo. And you know what, Dave, I'm going to Mingo. So anyone out there who's going to Mingo Madness next weekend, then yeah, I'll be there as well. So I'm looking forward to. I'll have my drone with me. And I'm going out with a couple of other good caching mates, Neil Moore and Hailmeister as well. So the three of us will be getting together, and of course Josh, the geocaching vlogger, as well. So we'll be hanging out and about and around. So come and say good day, and I'll definitely have my drone up for that for sure. That has to be in the video. I think they did it at the Gigastock, and it looked fantastic. Someone did it.
Oh yeah, they've been doing those at a lot of the mega events.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It looks really nice.
It's so much easier and better than trying to get it like the fire truck out and do a still from the top of the fire truck. But Pizza Ninja says he wants to know when we're going to be able to do remote caching with drones.
Or
he
if
wants
you
to do drone caching from the couch.
Don't laugh. Do not laugh, because I have used my drone whilst caching. Now I'll tell you what happened just quickly, because we're almost out of time. It was a T4 terrain 4 geocache down the side of a cliff face, and we had the ropes and everything ready to go for it. And actually, I think it was a T5. We had ropes and everything ready to go for it, but we didn't know which location it would be. So what did I use? Got my drone out, flew the drone down there. I knew exactly where it was. You could see the big ammo can in the side of the rock wall. And then I brought the drone straight back up, and I'm like, yep, there it is. It's straight down here. So we managed to drop the line straight over the ammo can. So yes, I have used my drone for geocaching.
There was a cacher in Canada that has several videos of retrieving their drone that they tried doing a LTC with.
Cache the line.
I wasn't going to call him. I don't think it was Cache the Line, was it? It might have been.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to call him out because I couldn't remember.
No, absolutely, Cache the Line, and I'll call him out on it, and he'll love me for it too. And because he's got the video on his YouTube channel, so if you want to see that, go to Cache the Line, guys, and have a look at his YouTube. He's a great bloke as it is. He got his drone. He tried to retrieve. It was a cache to be retrieved via a drone. It had to be. Like, it was used.
I think it was intended
by a drone.
I think it was intended to be done with a ladder.
Well, but did you see how high it was?
I did.
It'd have to be a fireman's ladder, literally. Like, well, it was insanely high.
I think it was probably placed using an extension pole and a ladder.
No, it was actually placed by a drone. But anyway.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yes, because
I missed that part.
Yeah, because what happened was there's two parts to his story in two videos. The first one is he goes to try and retrieve it, and he manages to grab the cash and retrieve it and signs the logbook. He's so excited. Yeah.
And he got it stuck putting it back up.
He went to place it back up, and then the drone got stuck and boom, and then hung sideways on top. He tried to get it down several times. He ended up calling the owner, the cash owner, and the cash owner tried to do it with his drone because that's how he placed it. You see, that's how I know. But in the end, I think they had a geocaching event nearby or something the next day. And so everyone come there with all ladders and whatever, and they managed to get it down for him that way. It's a great video.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just like the idea of being able to scout.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I use it for, is the scouting purposes. That was
I don't want so much to be able to retrieve by drone. I just want to be able to scout.
I wouldn't trust myself retrieving by drone.
Exactly.
I get too scared.
I guess it would be a different type of fun, but not so much safety and everything. It would just make me too nervous.
Exactly. Definitely.
Not to mention, how am I going to have the fun of retrieving the cash if the drone's going to do it for me?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think retrieving the cash by hand in most cases would probably be easier than retrieving it by drone, to be honest with you. The way that works, And you got to be a really good pilot to actually work those things sometimes to that precise degree, But getting back to the GIF, because we're time's nearly up, mate.
We are actually running long to this time. So
yeah. All right. Just quickly then, just to say this, the most important thing though, we talk about gear and everything else as well. The most important thing, if you're going to make a GIF video for this year, and I think personally you should, if you're thinking about it, you should. Number one is the storyline. Write it down, clip by clip, include all your thoughts, all the transitions you want to do, what people are thinking about at the time. Include people, include locations, and have those areas fit the story in which you want to, the story in which you want to tell. As I said before, the soundtrack and the soundboard has got to be spot on, royalty free, and subtle sound effects look really nice. So that's more important in my mind, though, Daryl, than, I'm sorry to say, the gear itself.
Oh, I totally concur. The story is king.
It is.
You can create absolute beautiful videos that sound amazing, but don't have any impact.
No, because there's no story, there's no feeling, there's no, think about, and geocachers, we are a different breed of people. If you go, so I found this over the last few years that I've been to different GIF events. What people what geocachers laugh at and find amusing is so different to normal people.
Yeah. We had, when I was back in communication school, a Shop-O-Matic is what we called it, commercial that we did over and over again. Anytime we had new equipment, we would take advantage of that new equipment to do this one video where you just go out, we used a photo strobe as the Shop-O-Matic, and it's get rid of those annoying salespeople. You hit the test button on the strobe, sit still, the other guy runs out of the frame, and then you continue on, and it's like, look, it's gone.
It's gone.
And so is this whole thing. And I keep thinking about, I really want to try that again for GIF one of these days.
That's not a bad idea.
But it is such a stupid old idea that I just don't want to do it.
But it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm thinking, Muggle-matic.
Yeah, exactly right. Muggle-matic.
Now that I've said it, someone's going to do it.
So someone has to do it. It's not picked up. It should be picked up, that one.
Yeah,
that's quality.
It's one of those easy, old-fashioned, what's the name of that? Bewitched.
Yes. Yeah. That sort of style. Like but that's cool. And you think about it as well, what's the age demographic of geocaching people? Hello? they're not the teenagers. It's not a cool thing to do when you're 18 geocaching. Like
well, and this is the film festival. You have to make something that's reasonably short, but it's not a TikTok.
No,
a TikTok isn't going to work for this.
No, I don't even talking about TikToks. Jeez, it's been killing. Just we're going to branch off for 2 seconds. A recent TikTok video of mine, seriously, like I'm talking a week and a half ago, it went viral. A TikTok video. It goes for 12 seconds, Daryl. 12 seconds. And all I do is I pan out and in to a free library, and it was the letterbox cache inside a free library. So it was pretty cool. I gave it a favorite point. You know, it was a holiday book, one of those.
Oh yeah.
Ready for this? Right now, as of today, 1.3 million views.
Oh, holy cow.
1.3 million views on that 13-second video, 12-second video. I'm like, why can't that be YouTube?
Yeah, no kidding.
TikTok, get paid for? Like, it's insane. But yeah, I know. It went viral. It kept on coming. I woke up to 1,000 notifications. I'm like, what has happened here?
Wow, that's bizarre. That's very
insane.
cool, but it's bizarre.
TikTok is, though. The algorithm is very, very bizarre. So,
but their algorithm, as I understand, because I'm not a TikTok person, I've looked at it, decided I don't want it.
I'd love to see you.
Yeah, no, it isn't going to happen. But the algorithm is better than anyone else at figuring out what is going to resonate with you as the viewer, and that's how people are getting hooked on it.
Absolutely. I mean, you can be on TikTok in bed, laying down in bed, and next minute there's an hour gone by, and you've watched umpteen dozen videos, and you don't even realize. Just keep
Meanwhile, I'm going, why the heck is YouTube making me watch this?
Yeah.
Yeah, the YouTube algorithm is so bad.
Oh, it is. The YouTube one isn't that good. But in saying that, too, YouTube have now come out with the shorts, but that's probably for another show. The YouTube tried to beat the TikTok stuff with the shorts, but I don't know how that's going.
Yeah, I don't know that they're trying to beat it.
Or they're trying to keep up with technology.
Yeah, they're just trying to keep the people on the platform.
Yes.
And that's the problem that YouTube is facing, is keeping their creators from jumping to other platforms.
Yeah, especially on mostly devices such as phones and iPads.
Yep. And we don't really know what's going to happen in this space, and we're getting way off subject, but we don't know what's happening in this space, because we had a huge bet that was placed last year called Quibi on mobile devices and that short form entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even finish spending their seed money. They just shut it down because it was such a failure.
Wow.
So obviously it's not just about the short form content and the phone content.
No, I personally
think
the algorithm is one of the biggest forms for TikTok to keep you on the app itself.
And the whole thing with Quibi was it was professionally developed content.
Yes. See, people want to watch everyday Joe Blows. They want to watch, the next door neighbors dancing and shaking their booty. Like that's what it is. There's
a place for the professional content, and there's a place for the amateur, and there are different mediums, is my assumption at this point.
Definitely.
Based on the little information that I have, and I don't study this or anything.
No.
It just seems like, people like the short form content from other people. They don't want professional short form content. They like shorter form, but it's got to be quality. It's, and look at what's happened with Disney Plus and the likes. You've got a bunch of shorts on there that are doing amazingly well.
Yep.
And we've got a bunch of really high quality stuff coming out on these streaming services.
Yeah.
That's doing very, very well. In the short form, it doesn't really work.
But I will say this as well, and it all bases down to reality TV. People in reality TV is a big thing, because people like to watch reality. And so I say this to other friends of mine. A good friend of mine, Gio Elmo, he's got his own YouTube channel as well. He's not really into the vlogging in front of camera, and he's actually just started trying to develop some sort of front of camera sort of style. He's really branched himself out there. He's doing like a vlog once a day, which is insane. But I've been speaking to him separately as well. And I said to him, don't copy anyone, be yourself. If you're going to be on camera, be yourself. If you're genuine and who you are and what you are, people will gravitate towards you. If you try and copy someone, say for instance, I'm out there and I'm there going like, yes, trying to copy Josh, for instance, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? Josh is Josh. No one can copy that, you know? So just be yourself. Yes, you can improve yourself in front of camera if you wish to, be more confident in front of camera, not worry about it too much. You can cut out the and the ahs. You can cut out as you know, Daryl, yourself, you can cut out all those mistakes that Renee makes in all your films. But she's not listening, isn't she? But just be more confident and be yourself. And this goes, again, back towards the GIF videos. Think of an idea. Think of a storyline. It's yours to do. Film it however you want to film it. Use what gear you have. I wouldn't go out and buy anything for it. It's not worth it. Don't spend your money. But film what you want to film, how you want to film it, and then edit it the way you want to do it. Personalize it. Personalize it. And that's what the whole night tonight's been about, literally from TikTok to drones, is do it for you and do it for yourself, and people will gravitate towards it.
Be authentic is the short version of that.
Yeah, I know. I'm not short at all. I'm 6 foot. Like, there's nothing short about me here. Like, trust me.
It's important to be authentic. People are not going to connect. They are going to tune you out if you're not authentic.
Exactly. I can't even say the word, but yeah, you got to cut out that BS. You know, you can't have it. So, no, very good. Well, thanks very much for having me on, Daryl.
Well, and thanks for coming on. And we're at a super long show, which I was afraid was going to happen. And we did, we said, we did get through the list today.
We didn't get through the list. And Chris isn't here. Imagine how long it'll be with Chris here as well.
You know, maybe he would actually bring us on track, but he's got a drone as well. So I figured it would get down that drone rat hole and we'd have to call this, droning your GIF.
Yeah, droning your GIF. I am not going there. That was too close for my mind.
Okay. And with that, we're going to wrap up tonight's show. Check the Cashomaniacs website at cashomaniacs.com for more on the Geo Gearheads, including show notes for this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads@cashomaniacs.com or through social media. Your support helps keep the Cashomaniacs shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron to the link on the website to support the Cashomaniacs shows. Geo Gearheads is produced by Chris Hoffnauer and Daryl Wanberg. This show is copyright 2021 by Daryl Wanberg. All rights reserved.